Popstars. Welcome to the latest episode of the Wind Down Rewind, where we rewind the latest in entertainment and pop culture news. Thank you for joining us this week. I'm Eddie.
And I'm Tammy.
How you doing, Tammy? How you been doing since we last rewound the rewind? Got down with the rewind? Anyway.
I'm doing all right. I'm doing all right. Just trying to get through these next couple weeks.
Yeah, keeping on. Life be lifing sometimes, man. And I don't know.
Life be lifing hard, so
it does. And then you work, but you be working, but the math don't be mathing. I'm like, damn. All right. So anyway, we start with the somber rest in peace. I know the Tennessee school shooting, just it's ridiculous. And I hate sounding so callous about it, but until they do anything, till they take feasible, real action, nothing is going to change. And I want to offer thoughts and prayers, but it seems so hollow and shallow now. So I will just say that, truly, I am praying for a sincere change and that we can do something. As the supposed greatest country in the world, this shit shouldn't continue to happen. So anyway, girl, I know you heard about your boy. The Mango Mussolini was finally indicted for paying off a porn star.
Woo! Yes.
It's kind of fitting that is the first indictment to come through. January 6th is still being investigated. And I kind of like that one wasn't the first one to go through, because Congress would have a little bit more say with that one being a federal case, I think. But, because of the Ninth Amendment and federalism, and kind of like I was going to say separation of church and state, but the separation of the feds and the state government, there's really not much they can do but bitch and moan about the charges coming out of the states, so.
There's three cases like that I appreciate, like this Congress, especially the House, can't intervene on, because you have the Manhattan DA with the hush money payment. Then you have the state of New York with the tax fraud, state tax fraud. And then you have Georgia with basically trying to steal an election, trying to steal votes. And those are three states. So like Congress has no say. They cannot touch those. And did you see the letter that DA Bragg sent to Congress?
Basically, we're telling it. We gonna break it down for our people, because they not all legal E. So let me basically, where he said, "Dear kind sirs, shut the fuck up and stay in your lane." That letter,
because you are not my boss, and I will do what I need to do.
Yeah, that one. Like, you have no jurisdiction here. Go finish.
Then had to explain how federalism works to the federal government.
Girl, these mugs just make it. I'm like, sometimes it's like, if we didn't live in a red state and I didn't live in a red district, I'm like, I should run for the House, because I could do a better job than these motherfuckers. Like, I have a better understanding of the Constitution. Granted, I'm nerdy and I like reading stuff like that. And, law school's always been my plan B, but I'm like, God damn, y'all are fucking stupid. Like, this is why, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we need to study history and social studies in school. I'm just saying, because you need a basic elementary understanding. And I get it. Not everyone in Congress has gone to law school and all that. I understand that. And I'm not even saying that should be a requirement to be a politician or to be a part of the government. But to have a base level fucking understanding of the Constitution and how it works, since that is your job, to uphold the Constitution, that would be probably a great jumping off point, But yeah, I loved DA Bragg's letter. And he had been taking a lot of heat in the beginning. Because of the way he handled the case. Initially, he said it wasn't going to go through, and a lot of people quit or were fired over it. And then, it's like, okay, so I think he was just trying to get his ducks in a row, maybe get rid of some of the old people. I don't know what it was, but it's like, oh, okay. fucked around and found out that he ain't the one. Like, Trump and his boys found out, Congress found out. Like, yeah, but the shut the fuck up and stay in your lane letter, I loved it, every bit of it. I'm like, yeah, yeah,
It
yeah.
was just
So
it was so professional. And that's what I loved about it was like, because they were slinging mud at him, Congress, the Republican run House, Jim Jordan being the lead for the House Judiciary Committee. And you're slinging mud at him, really thinking that you have a say in for him sending back his professional letter, but also in the letter explaining to them how the government works, and then the federal government has no power over state legislature or state government, and it's basically like, go talk to my boss. Like, go talk to the governor. Go talk to my boss. Oh, you realize that my boss ain't gonna do shit for you? Like, all right, so I like the professionalism. We all knew what he was saying, but he was so professional in the letter, explaining to them how the government works. I loved it. I loved it.
it was that professional fuck you. I love those lists. Gosh, I can't even think of it right now, but I love those lists. When they send out emails and they're like, what is it? The professional way of, I said what I said, I stand by my thoughts. I
Yeah.
stand by my previous statement. It's the professional way of saying I said what I said.
Mm-hmm. You're right.
So yeah, I did love it. It was great, and I was like, yeah, he's not one to be bullied or back down. And like I said, the first indictment is him basically being being brought up for paying off a porn star who calls him tiny. And I'm like, oh God. And her Twitter is so funny. Like all this week, she's had the time, and it's just been funny seeing her go off on people. Stormy Daniels. So that was a good one. The Georgia case. Speaking of that one, I think that will probably be the next indictment to come. But the federal government can't step in to do anything about that case. But the Georgia state legislature and their lovely governor, um, they have passed a bill. I don't know if he signed it yet. That basically gives them the power to remove prosecutors for doing their jobs, especially if it's cases that they don't like or want to be prosecuted. So that, as we just stated, that I think that's another case waiting to happen when someone goes and sues the state of Florida. I mean, of Georgia. I'm projecting here, but when someone goes and sues the state of Georgia over that, if the governor is actually dumb enough to sign that into law, and they try to remove her for doing her job, when actually she's not the one who, and that's what I don't think they understand. It's like, do you realize that these grand juries are the ones who are indicting him? They're the ones who are bringing the charges or recommending the charges. All the district attorney is doing at that point is following through on what the people, you do work for the people, of what the people have decided should be done in that case. So
Mm-hmm.
um,
We'll see.
anyway, we'll see. Speaking around and fuck around, find out. I think that might be a good name for the show. The one where they fucked around, they found out. Disney, and I know you're not a fan of Disney like I am, because I love Mickey Mouse. Like, we've talked about my obsession with Mickey Mouse. um, but I also just I, I love the way that they've just quietly made all these moves and basically given this. I've come up with a new name for him. His name is the Nutsackist. That's what I've started
The
calling him.
Nutsackist. Oh wow. Okay. Well, what about the Nutsackist in Disney?
So the Nutsackist. Well, first of all, Disney World in Florida is going to host the largest LGBTQ conference in the world this summer in Florida, at their Disney World property. So that was the first big FU, and there's nothing he can do about it. Mister Don't Say Gay. Um, but then, so we know that how he tried to put this board in place to strip Disney of its power, for being able to. It's kind of complicated, but basically, I guess you could say Disney World was its own little city in the sense of the way it was ran, and they reported to this board. Um, that had been in place since Disney World has been in Florida, basically. And so he basically got rid of that board and he put in a new board that would be loyal to him, a board full of his followers. This has just like Andrew Jackson vibes all over it, the spoil system.
Solar
Anyway,
system, yeah.
so Disney, in between the time that their old board was leaving and the new board was coming in, they cut a deal. They struck a deal with the new board, with the old board, that basically gave Disney pretty much still that Disney gets to retain its own autonomy and power. The only thing that this new board basically has the power to do, the only thing that they can do is take care of roads and infrastructure.
And pay for it, even though Disney was paying for their own infrastructure, but now basically Disney can make the city that they are currently in, Orlando, pay for it.
Yeah. And the cold part about it is they were so quiet while they were doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody was like, I remember we talked about it. And I was like, what is Disney's response going to be? Like, and I remember the first part of it that came out was, okay, they wouldn't have to pay. Somehow they got out of paying a whole bunch of taxes. So I was like, hell yeah, I would be quiet too. But then the way they did this, but the coldest part about this is that basically they cannot use Disney's name. They cannot use Disney's trademark. They can't use any of their characters they can't do anything
Without
concerning
permission of I
Disney
read that.
without Disney's permission. Now
But
here's the
go
huh?
ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I
But
was just
no, go ahead. I got you. Go ahead.
So I was gonna say, like, when I was reading one of the articles on it, one thing that DeSantis, because he thinks he's all powerful in the state of Florida, and he does not acknowledge that you're not all powerful, because not everybody in Florida is on your side about everything that you're doing. And so in order for Disney to put these deals in place, the board had to be on their side with what was going on, because they said it was agreed to. And when I read the reason why they are not going to have any type of power, like, they put in that Florida only gains the power back when all of King Charles III's descendants die. And I was like, wait, hold on. Like, if that ain't a beautiful fuck you, because you went to a country that don't even run us and put this in place, because it's just a perfect way of, it's a perfect way of saying that. Because what? He has 2 sons. He has 5 grandchildren, okay, who are gonna have kids of their own. So they were like, yo, you ain't never gonna get power of Disney. And I know he was upset that Disney and the board before did this right before they were replaced.
Yeah.
Like, right before they were replaced.
So they were right before they were replaced, and they were like, oh, because it was like one of those last minute efforts to do it. Like, Disney was trying to get through a loophole, and they were like, no, there are no loopholes. We got receipts. We did this according to the law. Mm-hmm. We published it in the paper. We did it in open forum. And so I was reading the Orlando Times Sentinel, and they went back and they published the receipts. Like, it showed the day that it was published, that they actually published it. Okay, it was online. Like, everything they did was by the book. There was no try to run around, sneak this through. Like, they had started this months ago. And I'm like, so, Mr. I can do whatever the fuck I want, fuck you, Disney, because you're too woke. I'm like, you just basically got outsmarted by a mouse. Now, we know it's not that simple, but I'm like,
no, you got outsmarted by a woke, with quotations, a woke corporation.
Yep.
And that's literally what it is. And Disney ain't even woke. Like,
thank you.
broke. Like, Disney is just running a business, and sometimes business decisions are made that benefit them based on what is going on in society. And sometimes, I mean, people seem to forget they were silent at first about this law being put in. They were silent until they were pushed to speak out against it. That's the only reason why they did it. So I'm like, it's a business decision. You tried to screw them over, and they're like, dude, we've been doing this longer than you've been alive. Don't fuck with us. That's basically what Disney is saying.
And they were silent because the dude who'd taken over after Iger left, before Iger came back, he really didn't care. They said he was more on the conservative side, and that's why they were silent for so long. But when they started getting the fucking pushback, then, like you said, he had to do at that point what was best for the business. But now that Bob Iger is back, he's like, fuck you. He ain't taking no prisoners. So it's just like, yeah. So if the other dude was still in charge, I don't think Disney would still, I don't think they would be pushing back and fighting back as hard as they were. But now that Iger is back, he's like, nah, so I just think it's a thing of beauty. And the fact that they said the youngest of his descendants. So far, do you know who the youngest of his descendants are? The American princess and prince. Yeah. So it'd be little, I'm like, yeah, that is like that. So if that's not only the perfect fuck you to the crown and Disney.
But they said the youngest of his descendants, it's like when all his descendants, like ultimately the language is when all his descendants. So when they have children, it still continues.
Children. And their children's children. So it's just going to go on in perpetuity. And I love it. I love it. I'm here for it. Anything that will get that sanctimonious asshole to shut the fuck up. Like, I'm telling you, people think he's the lesser of the two evils of the Mango Mussolini.
He's not, because he's smarter than Trump.
He's smarter. And he seems to be, for those who don't want to completely leave the Republican Party, even though they know it's a fucking shit show, he's the one that they can convince themselves that they can support. So yeah, it's just crazy. Okay, so I know really quickly you're not a big sports fan. I just want to say shout out to March Madness in town this week, the men's tournament. Both tournaments are being played in Texas. The women's has already been decided. It's going to be Iowa and Caitlin Clark, who is awesome, playing LSU for the national title. And the men's championship hasn't been determined yet. That Final Four is going to be playing off today. For those of you that don't know, the ReWine is recorded on a Saturday. So, but yeah, that was a big thing. Okay, so I didn't know. Oh, I have one other thing. I have a quick question. Did you see the one about Shirley Ralph when she said that she had been harassed at a network dinner by a famous TV judge in the late 90s, early 2000s?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And so everyone's trying to figure out who the judge was. And the judge told us who he was without telling us who he was. It was Judge Joe Brown. And he threatened to sue everybody who said that it was him. And I'm like, she never mentioned your name. It was just speculation till you come out preemptively threaten to sue anybody who says it was you. So I just thought that was kind of funny. But anyway, okay, moving on. The next thing in the news. So I have a question. You heard about Jonathan Majors?
Yes.
Yes. Is it over for him?
I don't think it's over for him because this is America. And I'm gonna be honest, it takes a minute before, I know we talk a lot about cancel culture. Now, granted, he is a Black man, so we're just gonna be tougher on him. And by we, I mean just society as a whole. And I don't necessarily think it's over for him, but what I do think is that he's going to have a lot of dings on his record. And that is definitely going to close some doors for him. But look, we got a lot of people who have made comebacks and have been forgiven and all that other BS. But is his star going to continue to rise the way it was before this situation? I mean, granted, you can bring it back if it does change, but I don't think so. I think that he's put a stop on his stardom rising. Yeah, he's put a stop on his stardom rising, because now the question is the money still going to pile? Is still going to be rolling in?
Well, I agree with what you're saying to a certain extent, but we have to remember he's already signed that contract with Marvel, and the whole MCU 4 is pretty much written around his character, his villain Kang. Um, so
It's written around his character. It's not written around him, and that's and that's the whole thing. So, does Disney want to take that chance with someone who is accused of assault of a woman? Not just assault where you got into an altercation with somebody, but you got into an altercation with a woman and you choked her.
and And I agree with you. And I'm not making excuses. I'm not like my stance on this at this point is I think I'm gonna surprise you. I'm straight down the middle on this. I am taking that wait and see what happens. I'm of the mindset. I understand that he's accused. And like you said with cancel culture. And I think we sometimes tend to jump to we forget the innocent until proven guilty part of the accused. And I'm not saying he's innocent. I'm not saying he's guilty. I'm just saying I'm going to wait and see what happens in a court of law. She recanted, although that doesn't necessarily mean anything, especially in the state of New York. They can
She
still
didn't
prosecute.
recant. That's go ahead. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Well, according to his lawyer, she recanted. Um, everything is still murky. The word on the streets is that he is an asshole and he tends to be mentally and verbally abusive, even on sets and around people that he's worked with, and he's not the best boyfriend. That's the word on the streets. No other ex at this point has come out and co-signed and said that he has been abusive, either verbally, mentally, or physically. And it shouldn't take more than one. So I'm not justifying that in any way. I'm just going by the facts that have been presented at this point. And even if she did recant in New York, it wouldn't matter because if they wanted to still prosecute without her, they can do so. At this point, he has been arraigned and charged. Um, so I think Disney is kind of taking that wait and see. I don't know. But yeah, I agree with you. I don't think his star will continue to rise as meteorically as it was rising. I think we as society will be tougher on him regardless of how the case turns out, because he is a black man. That just tends to be how it is. Um, so yeah, it's a crazy situation. And
Well,
go
I
ahead.
read, so his lawyers came out and said how, oh, she recanted her story. We have evidence. We're going to publish the evidence. They published the text messages that she sent him. In the text messages, it is confirmed that he assaulted her. She takes back her story on the fact that she went to the hospital and she's telling them, I don't want him to be charged. I don't want him to be charged. I don't want, like, that was where the recant comes on. She didn't want him to be charged. She didn't want him to be punished for this. She didn't want him to be arrested. She was like, I kept telling them that, like, that's in her text message. But in her text message, she kind of like says like, oh, I shouldn't have grabbed your phone, because it all starts because just based on the text message that his lawyers released, that she grabbed his phone or she tried to grab his phone and his reaction was the assault. That was his reaction. I don't know, like, the conversation they were having. She doesn't mention it in the text message, but it was she tried to grab his phone or see what was on his phone, and his reaction was where the assault comes. They separate, they go their own ways. She goes to her friend's house, and what I think ultimately happened is her friend probably saw how she looked and persuaded her to go to the hospital. So she was injured enough that she needs to go to the hospital. She gets to the hospital, they question her, and then she says what happens, and that's how, because once again, once that happens, New York can bring up charges without the witness coming, without the witness being there and everything like that. Like, you can say, I don't want him to be charged. That's fine. But New York still has the power to charge the person. And so he gets charged, he gets arrested for it. And now her recant is just because he got arrested. So just based on the text message, I was just like, if his attorneys release this, I don't think it's gonna turn out the way that they think, because in her text messages, she states, like, you know, she went to the hospital because you know, she was injured, and you know, so she went there just to get treated, and she was interviewed to ask what happened, and in the moment, that is when, like, you know, she says exactly what happened, she names him, and it goes through that. So I just think that while we still have to say alleged because he has not been proven guilty in the court of law, his lawyers, what his lawyers think, like what his lawyers think the text messages is going to do, I don't necessarily think that's going to be the result of those text messages, because I read those and I was just like,
yeah,
she don't say you ain't do it. She just said she felt bad at the fact that you got arrested for assaulting her, not that you didn't assault her. I'm just saying. But
yeah.
I mean, I guess we'll find out. We'll find out.
We'll find out. Like I said, it's just like, bruh. First of all, keep your hands off of women. Period. Keep your hands off of other
That's why I
people.
said it's gonna
Period.
be deeper, because
But
it wasn't like you were doing it to another man.
Especially if you chocolate, keep your hand. No, Siri, we are pretty sure. These problematic ass series. I think she was reading my mind, but I was gonna say, especially if you chocolate hued, keep your fucking hands off of vanilla hued women, okay? That never turns out good. But keep your hands off of women, period. And we will see. I hate to see it happen, just for the simple fact that aside from that, I hate to see, because he is very, very talented. I think he is extremely talented, and
I have a very smart comment today. Can I give my smart comment real quick?
Sure.
So was R. Kelly.
That is true. Like, I'm sorry. You got me before I finished. That talent doesn't justify anything to me, because let me tell you, I was one of the first ones to jump. I was done with R. Kelly when that sex tape, the sex tape. I never watched the sex tape. From that point on, he became Chester the child molester to me. That is what I call him all the time. My friend, and I felt guilty. Like, I really, really did not listen to him a lot after that. And then just as the time slowly went on, I stopped. I was good on him way before he got convicted, way before all the other shit come out. I'm like, nah, I'm good on that.
I'm just saying, so, like, he is talented.
The talent doesn't excuse what he did. Yeah. I just hate to see it happen, but so don't think I'm saying because he's so talented he deserves a pass or whatever. He doesn't. And it's not a justification for it or anything like that. Okay. So I think that is it for the. Oh, I have another one. And Amazon might be buying the AMC movie chain. The only reason why I care about that is because I don't want them fucking with my stubs. I like my stubs. That's it. Like, Amazon, if that deal goes through, don't be trying to prime no bullshit into my stubs. All right.
Or raising that price higher than what it is right now.
Thank you. So, don't be fucking with the stubs, Amazon. Don't be fucking with the stubs. Okay. So, on to music. Did you listen to Jimin's album?
I didn't listen to his album, but I did listen to his 2 singles that he came out with. And I think we talked about the last one, our last ReWine.
We talked about the first one.
Yeah, we talked about Set Me Free Part 2.
You weren't crazy about it. How do you feel about Life?
I was not. It was trash. I'm gonna say it again. It was trash. It was too auto-tuned. That's ultimately what it is. But I did listen to Like Crazy. I did listen to that one. I did.
and
it fits him. It's not my cup of tea, but it's not my cup of tea because it's not my kind of music. Like, it's not that it's not good. It's just that it's not what I would listen to. So, like, I listen to songs, and if I vibe with it, I love it. If I don't vibe with it. So, unlike with Set Me Free Part 2, where I can clearly say, like, it's not that I didn't like it, or because I didn't like it, but also it wasn't good. To me, Set Me Free Part 2 wasn't good. It was just a dance mix so he can show his dance talent, with a whole bunch of auto-tune in it. And I still don't know how he performed it, because I'm like, you must have lip synced the whole entire song. But with Like Crazy, I thought it was good, and I thought it was good for Jimin, and I thought it fits him really, really well. That style, I think, fits him very, very well. Not my cup of tea. I didn't add it to the playlist. I got to listen to his old album. Maybe I'll find another song that I'll like. But for this one, Like Crazy, not bad, Jimin, not bad. What about you?
The rest of the album is kind of along the vibe of Like Crazy.
Okay.
There's not really a lie or serendipity. Not that I'm saying every song is going to be like that, but I'm saying
something that fully stands out, right? Or
just from the slow, just from the vibe. There is a song called The Letter that I like. I do like the album. I do. And it was one of those, when I first listened to it, or I was like, it was really early and I wasn't fully awake yet. And I'm like, no, I can't do this. But then once I actually was able to sit down and just focus and concentrate and listen to it, I was like, okay, it's about 5, 6 songs. So, it goes by pretty fast. But for it to be his first, and for him to really showcase who he is, aside from BTS, I think he did a commendable job. I liked it. It wasn't, it's not gonna, it doesn't rank up there. And I liked J-Hope's album. I know you didn't, but it doesn't
I was
rank up
just
there
about to
with
tell you, can you, so we got 3 out now, right? So we have 3. So what we ranking? So how we ranking it against the other 2?
See, and the other 2 pretty much tied for me. I love them both equally, just for different reasons. So the other 2 are like number 1 for me. So this one would be.
So he's below how J-Hope and RM did for you.
Yeah. So if I were doing a 1, 2, 3, like, it just depends on my mood, where I say, okay, I want RM today, or today is a day where I want Jack in the Box. So if I was doing a 1A, 1B, those 2 are interchangeable, right? So this one would be a far 2 down the list. Like, it would be below that. So I'd say, as we get Suga's album coming out before his tour, as we get whatever we're gonna get, and JK and V, even if they just do a 2 single thing, they're going to release something before they go in. So I'm saying, at this point, unless those other 3 just really disappoint, then, and I can't count Jin, because he just had a single. Although I did like the Astronaut, it was just a single. He just did Jin. So it's always, Precious is in his own little category.
Yes, he is.
But so yeah, I'm going to say, probably by the time all is said and done, if the others don't disappoint, it will probably be at the bottom of the list, but not because it's bad, just because everything else is probably going to be so much better. Does that make sense?
Yes, you'll be surprised on my response to that. But go ahead.
And I'm not trying to be shady about that. I'm not. I'm not saying it's a bad album. It's not. I really enjoyed it. It lived up to my expectations. You can tell that he has been working on his voice for real this time, not all those other times when they were like he was getting voice lessons. You can really tell that he tried. And the songwriting, the lyrics are really good. So Set Me Free, I'm with you. It wasn't necessarily my favorite. I didn't dislike it as much as you did. It's a good little dance banger. It does what it's supposed to do. And the more you listen to it, at least in my, with me personally, the more I listen to it, the more it grows on me. So in the context of listening to the album, I don't skip that song when it comes on. Like, it's no skips. And that's not because it's just a no skips classic. It's just, I don't feel the need to necessarily skip anything, if that makes sense.
Okay. I will say, everybody knows, not a fan of J-Hope's album. I wasn't a fan of his singles at all. Did not like it. But surprise opinion is, I would still put him second and Jimin third on the singles that were released. Because as I listened to Jimin's 2 singles, Set Me Free Part 2 and Like Crazy, and then you go back and I listened to J-Hope's 2 singles that he put out, Arson, and I forgot what the other one's name was.
More.
Huh?
More.
More. It was just called More.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. I will say I don't want to insult him because he's an extremely talented man. Like Jimin is very, very talented. But I think if we were to rank talent, J-Hope's putting out his album ranks him higher than Jimin for me. And that was not always the case. I like Jimin was always ranked higher, but just looking at the production wise of his album, I would RM's number one. Like, no. But the only other person that'll beat RM is probably Sugar. So RM's number one. I would say J Hope is number two, and then Jimin is three right now based on what's been released. So I'm definitely waiting for Sugar to come out. And I would love to see what JK has to do. I mean, V is V. But
You're putting
I
him in his own category with Precious. Those two.
that just because I'm not necessarily a fan of V's style, so and I can acknowledge his talent, but I'm not a fan of his style. So being that I'm not a fan of his style, I'm probably gonna listen to V's album, whatever he puts out, and it's kind of gonna be of the mindset of production is amazing. He's a great songwriter, but not necessarily my style. Like I'm thinking that's what's gonna end up happening. But I've always been able to acknowledge that V is a very talented person. It's just not my style. But yeah, so I would say J Hope has done a better job in his production of his album, his release, than Jimin did. But Jimin, commendable. Like it did not suck. It did not suck. Like he surprised me a little bit. Like he's good. He's still not the strongest. He's still the weakest vocalist. But he did good what he came out with because he's playing to his strengths. And I will say I really, really like that he's playing to his strengths. That's a good business move on his part.
Okay. Well, speaking of, JK is the new face and body of the seat of Calvin Klein. Did you see the ad?
Yeah, I went online and I just saw it right before we started. Yeah, I'm like, I mean, we all knew JK had a body. He worked on it for years. I love the fact that he's coming into his own. Like he's not like I know other people's going like Army gonna come for me for this, but he's not like gorgeous. Um, but he just has a vibe to him
He
that
has a
just
sex appeal. He's
yes,
sexy. He's
yes, he
sexy.
very much is. And him being a new Calvin Klein model is it just fits it. It fits the vibe that he's been giving off for the last year since they announced their semi hiatus.
Yeah, I love the fact, and I like it for all of them that we get to see truly who they are. Like they always have their personalities, but everything always came back to BTS, and we know that's the foundation. They don't lie about that being the foundation. But I love that we get to see them step into their grown man ish and just kind of see who they are individually as grown men. And I like this. I like the way that they're getting to shine and showcase that aside from BTS, show the individual talent, show their likes, their musical taste, and all of those things. And I love the fact that they're doing stuff like, because for a long time, they did everything together, even the ads, even the sponsorships that they took, they did it together as BTS. So I like seeing them all go out and get their own, ambassadorships and brand sponsorships and all of that. And I do like and I love that JK is kind of like the rebel. And they all just kind of in their own ways. They all kind of like Precious march to the beat of their own drum. So I love that for them. Sugar is getting a Disney doc special leading up for his summer tour. That's going to be interesting. I'm waiting for. I'm just going to call it D3. I don't know what the new album is going to be called, but I think JK and V are JK and V. They're going to do what they're going to do, and I know that I have a feeling I'm going to appreciate both of them. But I think at this point, the one that I am most anticipating is Sugar. Like, because he's just like I just love his flow, and I love when you take the moment, when you take the time and break down his lyrics, Sugar be on that shit. He be singing some deep shit. And then he be low key shady too with this shit. Sometimes it's low key, sometimes it's high key. So I think that's the one I'm probably most anticipating from the ones who haven't released anything. So, are you gonna watch the Disney doc?
No.
No. Okay. Now, so Bobby came out, and just like you, I didn't know he had come out, but like you went and did a quick vibe check for JK and CK. Ha that I just caught that. Say JK and CK. Anyway, I'm silly. Just in case you haven't figured it out, Popstars. I did a quick Bobby check, and I liked it. Of course, it wasn't like a deep dive, but just what I was listening to. I think I liked the first song better, the one with him and Soleil. I don't know the title of it, but I did like it.
Drowning.
Now, Drowning, yeah. Now I have a question. So I think, and I know we talked about it before, but we've talked about a billion things since then. Um, did they leave his group? They left, right? They left.
They
the
did a
label.
GOT7.
Okay, they did a GOT7. Are they all at different companies now?
So they did a GOT7 on They Left Together, but they did something different than GOT7. They signed with the same company, 143 Entertainment.
Okay, so they left together. They did a GOT7. They all jumped stakes, but they all signed with the same company.
Yeah.
So is this his new release under the new company?
Yes.
Okay, so whatever comes out now, like the whole tour and stuff that they're about to embark on, the new album, all of that, the comeback is going to be for the new company.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. I did like this. I liked it. I Drowning was the one that I actually got into more. So I will be able, by the time we do our summer's coming up, so that's going to leave us with our K-pop comebacks, the ones that we've enjoyed the first part of this year, where we can do a deep dive into that stuff, and the ones that we're looking forward to. So by the time we get to our K-pop comebacks, I'm sure I will have a more articulate um review of Bobby and Drowning. But he's one of my favorites in K-pop, period. Not just his group, but he's one of my favorites. I love me some Bobby. I love his swag, I love his vibe. He ranks up there with Big Naughty for me, and anybody knows I love me some Big Naughty. Although I need Big Naughty to stop being so experimental, because the last stuff he's put out hasn't been my favorite. But that's neither here nor there. So how did you feel about it? Did you like Sir?
I am a huge fan of Bobby. Now, I got introduced to Icon before, which is his group, before I actually knew who Bobby was, and then I became a huge fan with his last album that he came out with. And this one is really great because Bobby is an extremely talented person. And I think it wasn't appreciated on how talented the Icon members are. Because a lot of times when they talk about Icon, people, even fans, want to bring up BI. And I'm just like, no, you're diminishing the talent of the rest of the individual in the group. Like, when you talk about that, you're talking like he was the only talented one, or he was the only one that's really like out there, when Bobby has clearly shown that he's the talent. Junie has an amazing voice. Oh my God, he's such an amazing vocalist. So there's talent in Icon that's still there, and there was a lack of appreciation of that. So I'm very, very happy that they left together. I'm happy that they all had a discussion enough that they signed with the same group, and I'm very, very excited to see what they come out with as a group. But I watched the premieres of both music videos, and Cherry Blossom as well as Drowning, like, they're on the same level. Like, I love them. The only thing I'm kind of sad about is Drowning was his official single, so he's been performing it. He performed it for his comeback. I've only seen one live performance of Cherry Blossom, and I kind of wanted to see how he was going to perform Cherry Blossom with the dancers and everything like that, and he hasn't done that. But I loved it. I loved it. I thought it was amazing. He wrote it, production, all of that was him. He was involved in directing the music videos. Like, he was fully involved in his career. And I love that because there is a lot that come out with singles and they're not involved in their career. They're just doing whatever their company says that they have to do. And with Icon, they're always fully involved, but they're involved even more than they've ever been before now that they're with this new company.
Okay. Well, I have to check out the videos. Like I said, I didn't know he had released until you told me so. And it was something I did like really quickly before we went on air or before we start taping this. So I'll check them out. And like I said, by the time we get back to it, talk about it again, I'll have something more articulate than, yeah, I liked it. But speaking of, um, someone who we were anticipating and someone who we kind of had mixed. We felt the same about the previous releases, but we had mixed anticipatory feelings. Look at me sounding all professional.
Anticipatory.
We had mixed anticipatory feelings and expectations. Girl, look at me. I need to have a headache more often, huh? Anticipatory feelings and anticipation about his release. And I'm gonna add, and I'm gonna say Bam Bam with Sweet and Sour. So, how did you feel about Bam Bam Sweet and Sour?
I'm gonna eat my words.
Yes! I know what that means. Yes! So I'm not the only one who said it's about damn time. He finally got it right.
Oh my God,
He finally got it
I was
right.
like, wait a minute, hold on, Bam Bam. Let me think about this. So you mean to tell me that you had this and you came out with those two albums first? Come on, this should have been his first album. He would have killed it with Sweet and Sour. I played that CD through. And it may not be that every single song like hit me, but if that was his first bout, I'd have been like, he rising. Like he did a phenomenal job on his third mini album. I loved it. I was like this is what I was expecting from him from the beginning. And it took him, a while, 2 years. It took him 2 years to get here, but I am so happy that he's finally here. And it was good. It was good. It was Bam Bam and it was good and I enjoyed it and I'm so happy that he's finally at a point where like I can say I loved this one from him.
Yes, he cooked up something he could finally fucking eat. Like he served us all. Like it was. So
and it takes practice. It takes practice.
It does. And I was the one who was like I said, we both agreed the first two albums were trash. They were. We were both like, what the fuck? Like I was starting to think, am I only a Bam Bam fan because he was in GOT7 and his personality? Like he has a great personality.
He does.
But I was like, is that the reason why they never let you do much? Besides skirt, like it was starting to make sense. I was like, oh, like no. And so, but here's the conversation. Here's how I think the conversation went. Mac, I'm going to be going away for a couple. I got to go do this time. I got to go serve. I'm going to need you to hold it down and stop putting out that bullshit and ruining our reputation while I'm away. Because, me and Def ain't going to be, me and Def, we going to be locked up for a little bit. Not literally locked up. We're going to be on lockdown for a little bit. So I need you to hold it down. I need you to show the people what you can do and represent right. Okay? That's what I need from you. You got it, Young. I'll do that for you. Yes, Young. Yes, JB Young. I got you.
He's so
funny. And so that's what happened. We got Sweet and Sour.
Now we did.
That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
But it's so funny because JB was on his first leave from the military. And for his leave, he actually went to his showcase. And him and Jin Young was there. I know him and Jin Young was there. I think Young Jay and Yogi went another night when he was meeting with his fans. But he said that because what they say is the Young line is more involved with the Maknae line than they are with each other necessarily. So they really are watching their careers and encouraging them. And he was like how JB sent him a message and said, you know, you've gotten way better at singing. And I was just like, yo,
See, I told you.
I
I told
agree.
you.
Like he's gotten so much. He got better at singing, and like you could tell he practiced, like he worked on it. He worked on it, which means that behind the scenes, they were having conversations about it. They were having conversations about his voice, how he sounded, and so he worked on it, and we're seeing the success of his work and his effort, and it was really good. Like I now this one I would actually suggest people go and listen to Sweet and Sour by Bam Bam.
Yeah.
Go check it out.
I
It's
can't even
really
tell you the
really
name of
great.
those first two. Like I know Cotton. No, Cotton Candy was a different song, but I just think of
Cotton
one
Candy
after.
was Jin Young.
Yeah, I and see, and I liked Jin Young's album, but what I'm saying is, I just remember that one that had that like cotton candy unicorn, like
Oh right, it was yeah
album
his first
cover or
one. Yeah,
whatever.
I don't know what
So
that was called.
I always call that one cotton candy, but I don't even remember. I can't even tell you a single off of. That's how forgettable and disappointing they were. And so I was the one who said, okay, I'm going to be cautiously optimistic. I was like, the third time's the charm. It had to be the charm because after this, I was giving up on Bam Bam. I was like, oh, okay. He's just going to get that. Yeah, when Got Seven gets back together. And I hate that because I love his personality. And I just like we were talking about with BTS, I love how individually they've all kind of showcased their own musical styles. And Mark is on his emo tip, you know. Um, Jackson just does whatever the fuck Jackson wants to do. He would be like the Jin of the group who just does whatever. Um, but you know, so it's just like okay, but yeah, I'm glad he finally got it right. And another one I'm still waiting to hit his full potential is Young Jay. Like I haven't been,
He's
I
there.
have
It's just not your style necessarily, but he's there.
I haven't just been overly impressed, and I guess it's disappointing because of his voice. I just haven't like it's, and I guess maybe you're right. If what he's been putting out is truly him, then and because it all sounds to me like most of it sounds like um, like a like an OST, and I'm like, you know how I feel about those. I'm like, oh god. So yeah,
Yeah, because
but yeah,
that's his voice. Like he's extremely strong vocalist, but I just think of the fact of like Young Jay's doing his thing because he's a radio host. He's doing his thing on the radio, and he's also in basically what they would call their Broadway. On he does a lot of he does musical shows and you know everything like that. So he's doing his thing, and I think he's the one who is leading his own path. Like I would actually think Young Jay is more the Jin of the group because he's doing his own path, which is not necessarily what we would expect from you know such a strong vocalist or I don't know, like someone that you have you like promise from, right? Because he came from Got Seven, but he's doing his thing. When I like kind of read up on like what he's doing, I'm just like, oh no, he got his road. He got his road, and he's traveling his road. And I may necessarily fully support that road, but it's a good road for him to travel.
all right. Well, yeah. So I'm excited. I'm glad Bam Bam finally got it right because
Mm-hmm.
I'm be honest. When I first saw, I started watching the video, and I'm like, no, I was not. The video did not capture me, and I'm like, you know what? Um, I'm not going to do it this way. I am going to go and where I actually have to concentrate on the lyrics. So now I can go back to the video and maybe have an appreciation for it. But the video was not initially. I was like, I cannot do this and watch the video. So now I was like, okay, and I'm glad I did it that way. Once I heard the full thing, and it's been on repeat since I turned it on. So I'm just like, okay, Bam Bam, you finally got it right. All right. Speaking of music, since we're here and before we finish, Adele's extending her Vegas residency. I want to go see her. We need to find a way to get to Vegas. Um,
Oh, I've already seen Adele twice. So I'm good.
Usher is also extending his residency. I thought something
Nice.
funny. They called him the new Wayne Newton of Vegas, and I'm like, hey, he bringing in 20 million a year. He ain't got a tour again.
Right.
um, but I definitely want to see Usher. I heard his show is amazing. So um, that is on my list. Kelly Clarkson announced her own Vegas residency and her new album called Chemistry. Gotta listen. This is the divorce album. Got to listen to it because the woman in me. I'm sorry she went through that heartbreak, but this gonna be some good shit.
With that voice, yes.
Yes. So I think that is all for music. Okay.
I have one more.
Gotta. Oh, what's your next one?
Jisoo,
Oh yeah. What did you think about Miss Flower, Jisoo and her
very,
flowers?
very, very generic.
Okay. So and maybe that's why I skipped it. Not on purpose, but it wasn't very memorable to me.
It
Like I'm
wasn't.
with
It
you.
wasn't.
I,
It was.
I
It
agree
was
with you.
very, very generic. It wasn't like Lisa. Like, may not necessarily have been a fan of because Lisa lyrics, which it was crap lyrics, but
But
her
it was
talent
catchy.
shine. Huh? Yeah,
And
it was
it was
catchy.
catchy. You could dance to it.
Yes, and her talent shined through. Like you know that she's a talent. It's just the lyrics were trash. But she made it her own. She made it her own. She took full advantage. And even with Rose, like it's the same thing. Like I may not necessarily been a fan, but I won't say the songs were bad. I would just say I wasn't a fan of the comeback because I felt like they were still trying to make her look like some teenage girl when she's a grown woman kind of thing. With Jisoo, I was like, you she's the weakest dancer in the group, and you could tell in the video that she's the weakest dancer, but it's also on, it's not that she's the least talented or that she can't sing because she can. It was very generic. Like anybody could have come out with that song. It wasn't hers. It wasn't like Rose and Lisa. Wait, that was theirs. It wasn't hers. It was just something that she was doing because the fans kept talking about it. So um I just hope, like, maybe she'll try her hand at acting again. I think she did a pretty good job in the show that she did, Snowdrop. So maybe she'll try her hand again at acting and pave her own road because this ain't her road.
I finally agree with you. When you say something is generic or it sounds like anybody
Yeah.
could have done that song, and when I heard it, I felt like I was listening to just anybody. And as someone who I knew Jisoo from Blackpink, and I know that she's supposed to be a strong vocalist, but it didn't impress me. Like if that was her single, her comeback, her her solo debut, it's not impressive, and it doesn't showcase what everyone talks about, the way everyone talks about her vocally as a member of Blackpink. So it didn't do much to make her stand out. And like I said, I agree with you, and I don't normally agree with you often when you say anyone
Hmm.
could have done that song, but I felt like I was listening to just any other generic girl group or female soloist. Um, so I hope that her future efforts get better. Okay, so I have a palette cleanser or two. One is strictly for me. The X Files, I'm so excited, are getting rebooted with Ryan Coogler and a diverse cast. And as a person who loves the X Files, I felt like it was Christmas. You can't even share in my excitement.
No, I've never seen an episode a day in my life.
Help me, yes. Differences, differences.
Hmm.
Okay, all right. Okay, now the other main palette cleanser is. I'm sticking to music. Oh no, yeah, it is music. It is music. But here's the palette cleanser. Okay, so your boy, yay, he was all on his anti-Semitic tip, right?
Hmm.
So he's been quiet for the last few months, right?
Hmm.
Someone told him finally to shut the fuck up because I guess he was losing too much money. He lost his Adidas deal, which took him out of billionaire status and all that, right?
Hmm.
So he comes back And he tweets that he's no longer anti-Semitic thanks to Jonah Hill. So
Uh-huh.
when someone would just tell me what you would think that meant, that you know what.
That he had a conversation with Jonah Hill and he was educated.
Yes, I mean that's what commonsensical people would think, right? You
Mm-hmm.
know, he and Jonah had a conversation. He realized the error of his ways. Nah, dog. He watched 21 Jump.
If that ain't the most anti-Semitic bullshit that I've ever heard, I don't know what is. If
So
anything, why
your
wouldn't
boy
you
is
say
no
Adam
longer
Sandler changed your mind?
anti-Semitic due to Jonah Hill's groundbreaking anti-Semitic performance in the movie 21 Jump Street.
I'll take that under advisement.
I mean, when I first read that, when I first saw the headline, like it says due to Jonah Hill, thanks to Jonah Hill, and I'm like, oh, they had a conversation. Okay, cool. How'd that go? What happened? Nah, dog, he watched 21 Jump Street. Okay.
Inspiring.
It is. Although that is a show I would love to see rebooted. Just, I'm just saying. All right. Well, that does it for this. Now, I know before we go, you've seen an episode of 21 Jump Street, the original.
No.
The fuck?
It was before my time.
It was before my time too, but they have all this stuff like
You watch shows that were before your time. I don't. So if like the only
You've seen the
show,
Jeffersons?
huh?
You've seen the Jeffersons?
So I was about to say the only shows that I've seen that were before my time was the shows that my family were fans of. No one in my family that were fans of 21 Jump Street. So that's the reason why I've never seen an episode of 21 Jump Street. I've heard of it. I know Johnny Depp was part of it, but I've never seen an episode because nobody in my family when I was growing up watched 21 Jump Street. Nobody was a fan of it. I've seen other oldies because I have at least one family member that was a fan of the show. So I can tell you I've seen episodes of that. But that's the only reason why I haven't watched it. And I don't have an inkling to watch it because I don't really go back and watch shows from before my time.
Well, that does it for this episode of the ReWine. Please be sure to listen, like, follow, and comment on Apple. Well, anywhere actually where you listen to your favorite podcast. You can also keep up to date on the latest in entertainment and pop culture news, as well as other amazing kernels of pop culture goodness at thepopcornwinedown.com. That's it. That's the plug. Poppy the
Pop,
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 pop, pop, pop.
pop. Thank you, as always. And until next time, I'm Eddie.
And I'm Tammy. Bye.
Peace.